Hey there, it's Chris, and welcome back to the Final Fantasy V mobile platform inspired project here, where if this were the other two projects, if this were either like the Bang or the Kai project I've done, the Clay ones I've done, by this point in time we're still detailing out like the boots and the legs and just kind of getting started and starting to look like something. Well, as of right now, we already finished the globe. It's already done, it's painted, we've done some engineering stuff, we're starting here, so we're getting places right now. And finally today we get to actually start detailing things for real, at least on the platform side of things. The globe has already been done. But before we do that, I don't know if you read the description section at the start of the videos, but in that one in the last video, I had made an observation that this is starting to get a little bit of a familiar look to it. Now, you're going to need to squint and have a child's imagination a little bit, but just imagine this isn't a globe back here. We have this nice kind of slender front end. And just imagine, rather than a globe, this is the disc in the back, kind of angling out just a little bit. So let's just go and to kind of give an idea. So this is what we're dealing with from the start. Again, we have nice kind of smooth front. And again, we're going to picture an angled disc on the back. And it might look a little bit familiar if you've ever seen the Fahrenheit from Final Fantasy X. Because, yeah, if you look kind of the cockpit area up top, we have that nice, now I'm doing hand gestures, that nice kind of smooth area with the disc up top there. And even on that, if we look at the tassels that I've kind of drawn on the bottom here, that would have been the windows and the glass at the bottom of that. So it's interesting seeing how earlier designs can then influence how we look at future designs when they actually kind of come to fruition when they do. I know on the music side of things, you've probably noticed this if you're familiar with the Final Fantasy franchise. You played, say, Final Fantasy VIII, and you listened to Maybe I Want to Be a Lion near the end of the game. Then you go back into Final Fantasy IX, you listen to Dark Messenger again near the end of the game. You can see the transition from one song to the next, how they took the good elements from one and then brought it into the next part. But yeah, no, I thought that was a little fun bit of stuff to show on that. Otherwise, like I said, we're going to start detailing stuff. Globe, don't need the globe this time. That's gone. These, although I've still never finished the top part of this, and I still don't have the top part of these guys done, not going to be dealing with those two. They're gone. So let's move them out of the way and out of the dust zone, because once again, it shouldn't be as dusty as last time, but there will be a dust zone. So off camera, as you can see, I've done a decent chunk of work, and I have, every time I move things around the screen, I get red lines everywhere that you don't see, but I do on screen. So I've done a fair amount of drawing stuff out on what I plan on doing detail-wise. It's like I said, trying to give that kind of mattress or pillow look here. We're going to have all these little dots, going to be little kind of indents, and then it kind of smooths out, an indent, smooth out, indent. And the same on the side. We're going to have where any one of these dots kind of lies. It's going to, our fabric, it looks like it's going to be pulled down a little bit. Then it's going to come up and go down a little bit, come up, go down a little bit. Each one of those is going to be a larger tassel that comes down. And in the middle, just to kind of fill in, well, a little smaller tassel that kind of comes down in this place. And as I had said in one of the previous sessions, that the goal of this video isn't just showing how you assemble parts, but how we figure out how these parts actually go. The way I had determined where all this is you can take our handy little line here. We realize we're 3.5 inches wide at this point. So you just make a mark in the middle, take the full length, divide it in half, make a mark in the middle, bam, straight line down the middle. Now this guy is exactly 1 inch wide. So I can just put that against the line, mark out, get that line, mark out, get that. Make one perpendicular, same thing. So we have a 1 inch by 1 inch square grid going on. Every intersection of that square gets one of these indents. Then you just draw a diagonal from one point of each square to the next. Draw those lines, and then wherever those indents, wherever those lines cross, we get, say down here, another point, another point, another point, another point. So that's how we figured out that. And like I said, on the bottom here, wherever these points come near an edge, there's going to be our fabric pulling down, because again, that's going to be inset. So that means the fabric's going to come down. The fabric's going to come down. We're going to have a little bit of a lip when we do these. Then we'll carve out the tassels. So this is going to be an interesting kind of carving dealie. I've already done a test carve on the side. I'm not sure how visible this whole section is going to be on camera, so this could be interesting from your perspective watching me try to do this, but it does seem to work. It's just going to be, yeah, how visible or not this will be to you on here. So I'm gonna try to not go too long on this part. This may take a while to do, so I might start this and finish this off camera. But I'd like to get this part going up top and show a little bit of how I'm going to be carving down into this tassel stuff on the side. Then if we finish the day without finishing all of this stuff, which would be kind of the expectation, I can then finish that part off camera before figuring out what I want to do next, because I'm not sure what I want to do next after this. But now that my voice has probably changed, that means I just threw the mask on, and it is time to do some work. That said, I don't need the bottom of that at all for this, and it seems to work well enough just using the sander bit here. Now, the nice part on this is if this winds up being terrible, I carved down too much, it looks really bad. The good thing with this project is I'm painting it. I'm not staining this. I'm not keeping this raw wood and polishing and making it all nice. I think it might look really good if I do something like that, but I'm painting this. So if this does wind up looking funky, not nice, and just kind of a blah thing, I have two things going for us. A, Mid himself is going to be covering up. Let's go and move this over. Mid himself is covering up most of this platform, so we're not even going to see most of this. But also, if any of these carvings I do don't work out, I can always get some like wood fill or whatnot, put it over, sand it down, and start from scratch again. So that's a benefit of doing this. And for, at least for me, who's not used to doing this type of wood carving stuff, being that it is painted, it does give me a little bit of a safety net on that regard. Now, if I were staining this or making it look kind of more a natural finish in the end, I don't have that safety net anymore. But we do have a little bit of safety net to work with on this, and that should be, at least makes me feel a little better in the background. But it's now 7.5 minutes. I've only been talking, so let's actually do some doing. Alright, the first thing to do is just kind of, now, as fabric gets stretched between each of these points, it does pull down a little bit. It'll be a little more at the points and a little less kind of in the middle of it, but it does get stretched throughout the entire thing to a certain extent. So I'm just getting kind of the corner of this in here to get these lines going. I'm just kind of putting a little extra down at the dots. Like I said, I kind of feel like this is kind of a dreamlike kind of image. It's kind of like an imaginary kind of thing. That's why I want to kind of do a little something like this, just kind of give it a little bit of that kind of dreamy quality to it. Now this does need to work in multiple dimensions, and it also needs to work so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm digging down a little deeper with the Dremel here facing different directions, so you can get a little more of a circle kind of thing going. I also need to go to kind of this direction. And again, I'm just kind of getting started on this. That's all right now. I did that one. Yes, I've never had to do something quite like this, so we're just kind of hoping the effect works in the end. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But we're going to work like it will. I don't think I did this way last time. I think I did every direction but this direction. This one doesn't feel like it's been done in any direction. At least in how we have little divots. Which actually they're not too terrible. But so now it's really just kind of take those and really lightly just kind of expand them out a little bit. And hopefully in the end, this will get the effects that we want. Yeah, I feel like the last video I wasn't super talkative. It just kind of... Last video was just weird. It just kind of felt like it was a necessary one I had to do to show what had to be done. But I wasn't super in love with that one. So I'm hoping this one here is going to bring us out and at least end in a good place. So we can... I wonder if I can bring this a little closer so we can kind of see a little more of what I'm doing. So if I'm here, if I kind of stay around this dimension, yeah, it's going to be a little back and forth between this and using that guy. Now I wonder, using this, would the bigger one actually work a little better? If I can get one square to kind of look right, then I can kind of follow suit with the others. That's kind of our goal. But it is kind of a little bit of a delicate process here. You don't want to go too much, because you do need to kind of keep some puffiness going on this. Like I said, my anticipation is this is going to take some time to do. Also, I have the wire from my camera is kind of getting in my way. Not super fan of that. Okay, but I think we're working out okay. Real delicate touch, kinda, it's doing what I want. I don't know why I'm doing this one next, but here we go. I feel really bad, I'm tilting this thing kind of away from you, but again, I'm right-handed, so gonna have to just kind of deal with that a little bit, I guess. That's what I was about to say. This is going to be the last recording of 2025, but actually I'm probably going to... I have tomorrow off, because tomorrow is going to be... Tomorrow is New Year's Eve right now, so... For me, so you can get an idea of when this is being done, but... Yeah, no, I would like to get this one done today. I want to get one done tomorrow. If I can get one done on New Year's, then I can at least kind of then be a little back ahead of the game again. Because I feel like I've been really, really behind lately, so... And part of that is, woodworking is a lot more stressful than working with clay. I'm just going to throw that out there. On clay, I feel like if you make a mistake, that's okay. You can kind of come back, you can add more stuff to it, you can take stuff away. You can deal with mistakes when you... Wood, I'm like planning stuff out up the wazoo. Like the more stuff I could draw out beforehand. You saw the lines and stuff I had on here. That already took like half hour plus worth of time to just physically draw that stuff out. Plus the planning of where it all went in the first place. And there's a lot more thought put into these. And that I know that if I make a mistake, it's harder to iron out than if I'm doing the clay. So I tend to be a little slower at getting these things done and out and finished. So as a result, I'm definitely a little further behind my recording schedule than what I'd like to be in regards to when I get stuff done and when it actually goes live. So if I can use these next few days to catch myself back up again, that would be fantastic. That said, I do really like the look of a well-done kind of wood figure or wood project. I think they look really, really good. So I'm not going to knock it on that front. But they do take more work to do. And I think that does reflect itself in the final product. When you see... There's just a tactile difference to it. There really is. I'm not sure, like I said, how well it's coming out on camera, but I'm not going to say it's perfect in real life here, but it is giving me the effect that I want it to give. I think there's going to be a decent amount of this kind of handstanding. I think there's going to be a decent amount of kind of handstanding on here to really kind of clean up just kind of errant marks that are on that. They're just inherent to using a Dremel to do this. But overall, it is giving the look that I want to give. I do each one just kind of a little bit separate. Good thing is I'm getting next to no dust out of this as opposed to before. So that's awesome. But if I can work this thing out to an edge, that would be great. Because then we can, oh, it's like only, not much more than 10 minutes have passed since we started, and I already have all that. Because if I want to see how deep it goes here, because that's going to depend on how, I don't want to have this being a straight line going across. I want to have a little bit of a dip, a dip, a dip when I do down that. That was almost English. But when I get to that part. But I do want to make sure this is looking good by the end as well. Because we are getting into actual detail stuff now. And I want this detail stuff to look good. If there's one thing I've learned on my job, is that if you don't have enough time to finish a project you're doing, you would rather have something, when a client comes home and looks at what you've done, you would rather have something look incomplete and have something look like it hasn't been finished properly. Because the client can understand if you have like a complete element left off, oh, they didn't have time to do that. But if you rush through all like the basic stuff first and leave the detail things for the very end, they're going to come home once you're done and left and think, oh, he just did a shabby job. So I'd rather have something look good here than have everything done really quick and not really finished out nicely. It's part of how my job goes, part of how work goes, and yeah, it's a psychological thing. And it does exist, and it does actually work as a psychological thing. I am kind of liking this, I'm not going to lie. Once again, not sure how much you're seeing on the camera, but because it does rely a lot on just how the light is scattering from up above, and like the shadow lines and all that. But I am really, really liking this effect. It's subtle enough that it's not in your face. What I really don't want this thing to be kind of really in your face, huzzah, look at me kind of thing. This is a background detail in regards to the whole scheme of things. But it's just enough that it gets kind of that point across that we're going for. Let's see, I don't think I did this coming down on this side. Oh, I need to do one square at a time and not just kind of keep switching from square to square, because then I need to know what I've done versus what I haven't done. Might be helpful. I can see a hard edge on that, and we don't want hard edges. Hard edges are bad. Hard edges are not good. Okay, you still need a line coming through though. It's still kind of on camera, maybe. Alright, we're getting there. But again, I've been looking forward to detailing stuff like this for a little while now. Doing the rough stuff is always discouraging. It spends a lot of time. It looks really bad at the time you're doing it. It's like, alright, will this ever start looking like what it's supposed to look like in the end? Am I doing things right? And you kind of second guess yourself on everything. So, it is nice to have at least something getting actually detailed now. That's what makes the detail phase nice, is all of a sudden everything kind of comes together. It's always rough during that, the roughing out phase. Just because you have that big uncertainty, is what I'm doing going to work in the end? Am I going the right way? Am I spending time on the right stuff? But then when you come here and start putting it together, it's like, yes, this does kind of have that nice soft look to it. It is turning into what I want it to. What are we doing on time? 25 minutes. And I think for the first time in a while, I'm not going to be cutting between things. This is all going to be done in one take. So I have no plan on stopping the recording here and cutting to something else and coming back. So everything you see is being done in one time, real time. Yeah, definitely a decent chunk of this is sanding it off and getting it to look right, but this hand sanding is actually making a really, really big difference. It's getting a lot of these kind of machine marks and stuff from that off. And I am feeling really, really good about this one. Which is good. I could use some good news right now. We're in that time of year, my brain tends to just kind of go places, so it's nice having something good to look at here. Although you think the holidays are always kind of these great times, it's only good times, this, that, and the other, but usually my brain just kind of goes places this time of year, so. Did get thrown a little bit of a curveball just a couple days ago when got some bad news that came through a couple days ago. Apparently, now again, I've said before, I'm not that old. I'm early 40s. So I'm not even mid 40s yet. I'm still early 40s. But yeah, apparently one of my high school classmates just passed away a few days ago. Somebody who's actually on the track team that I was with before. And I really haven't spoken to him since high school, but it's just one of those things that makes you kind of pause and think. Now, of my class, I think he's the third member of my class to pass away since high school. But still, it is just definitely one of those things that makes you think and just, yeah, it puts things in perspective a little bit. So, he's a good guy too, which is the unfortunate part. At least from what I remember way back when. But no, always hearing that kind of news is rough. But okay, we're getting there. I'm moving this thing around a little bit just so we can maybe get the light to catch it the right way during one of these kind of segments, because I do want to show off what we're doing too. I realize a lot of times when I do stuff, I do it and kind of really quickly jump into something else, so it is nice to pause and actually observe what we're working on every now and again. So let's go a little further up. Am I on camera? Kind of. Didn't get there. And now that I gave that big revelation of what bad stuff that kind of happened recently. It's like all of a sudden, not really sure where to follow up that kind of thought process I had over here. But nice thing is, we went through, we had our Christmas stuff was last week, but our big family get-together is now still yet to come. That's going to be this coming weekend after New Year's, so there is at least that to look forward to. So I do have good things coming on. So festive season is not over yet, which is nice. It is nice having something to look forward to. Although at the same time, it's been like holiday stuff nonstop ever since like the Thanksgiving, so I know there's that big kind of unfortunate, like, oh, holidays are over kind of feel when it does end. But all the same, it is kind of nice getting back to like a normal routine again. I'm not gonna lie. Getting back to having normal foods again. Not having like all the sugary stuff and whatnot. I'm not gonna lie, I really like the Christmas foods and things that go on. Places we go. We got to go to my parents' place and whatnot, like you saw before. They make really good food, which I'm very appreciative for. But at the same time, there's that feeling where it's kind of nice to get back to a normal routine again. And a normal routine is very much, hasn't been the name of the day for a little while now. And even today, I don't have work today because, well, really we're waiting for inspectors on the project that we have. So I physically can't do anything until our project is inspected. So theoretically, that should be done today. We'll pass today and be able to start tomorrow, if tomorrow wasn't New Year's Eve. So it's just a really weird week and weird kind of timing for everything right now that all kind of comes together and works out. That I'm winding up with better part of this week is off from work. But that's going to help get me caught up on all of this stuff, so I'm okay with that this time. And I should be, because the next holiday I get off is Memorial Day. So, the next main one that kind of forced to take off is Memorial Day. I'll always take the Good Friday, I'll take off. But that's about it. So, in terms of holiday stuff, not much more coming up in the near future. This is it. Yeah, things like President's Day, Martin Luther King Day, and whatnot. No, those are fake holidays. Those are the ones like those fake government holidays, ones the schools and stuff get off. But no, if you're out in like the real world and the private sector and whatnot, you don't get those days off. Those are, generally speaking, not real holidays. Holidays named after people and whatnot. Like a President's Day, like a Martin Luther King Day, like Columbus Day, stuff like that. Yeah, those don't exist in the private sector. So we just kind of work through those. So I'm going to enjoy this time off while I can because I'm not getting it again for a little while. I really should be getting to some of the tassel stuff on the bottom so we can kind of get going on that. But at the same time, maybe I'll just save that for next time. I'll just keep going on this. If you want to see more of me doing this part, that's cool. I'll just finish this out. And then next time we can go and do tassel stuff. Plus, that lets me stall for time a little bit as I try to figure out where to go after that, because I'm not sure what I want to work on after that. Because again, if I want to do the underside of this, stick that down here. I don't want to get on the wrong way. If I want to do kind of the underside of this, I need to figure that out. If I want to start doing the legs, I would really need to figure stuff like that out. So there are a lot of things I would need to figure out before I can go forward on the next. So just having the ability to, quote unquote, unofficially stall for one more day may not be a bad thing, just for my own sanity's sake. I already take long enough on these wood projects that for me to get and just kind of do multiple things at once is just difficult to plan around for me. But I am really liking this effect. I really, really am. Too bad you're not going to see any of it in the final bit, but I really kind of can. You know what? You know what? Maybe let's just go for it. Let's just do a little bit of cutting in around these tassels, just to kind of get an idea of what's going on. Actually, now that I brought this in, we do have a point down here. I would view kind of maybe this way. So I'm going to bring this, come up and down. I'm going to come up and down. Up and down. I just want to make a line that I can definitely see when I'm doing this. That would be really, really helpful. Okay, so if we have a couple of these things kind of going on, let's might as well get you two. I'm not sure if this is the proper tool for this or not. Because to some extent there might be limits to what I can use these power tools for and what I should be doing with hand tools. But in general, I haven't found those limits yet, so... I figure this is kind of a little bit of a sneak preview of what's going to come next time. Yeah, go another. Still on here, kind of. Constantly look at the monitor, make sure I'm still kind of on camera. It'd feel bad to do a sneak preview if you can't see anything. I get a feeling it's going to be using that to kind of get started on a lot of this. Then I might need to actually get the real hand tools to kind of get some of these really kind of detailed areas. This is not the right tool to be using to get inside here. So yeah, so part of this might be just next time getting into this and figuring out the proper technique for getting into some of this tighter area. I said I do have actual carving hand tools. I just need to grab them, break them out, bring them down here like I should have done in the first place. And then we'll go, and next time we will go and yeah, kind of be working on this tassel-y area. I just want to get this one section off. Come on. Oh, oh. Hey. Oh, come on. Be good to me. Be good to me. What have I ever done to you? What have I ever done bad to you? Yeah, we're gonna get proper tools for this next time. Yeah, but no, if we get in there, get that little bit of a reveal going, it kind of gives the idea that this is a little more of a platform that's kind of on top, and this is kind of underneath, which is nice. We kind of want that. No, that's where we are now. See, off camera I can go and I can finish off the rest of this. You've seen how it is. I know I used to do the hour-long videos. It seems like around the 40-45 minutes is kind of where these are going during this project. A little more, because otherwise you're just watching the same thing over and over and over. So next time I'm going to figure out a technique to get inside all of these little crenulations nicely, and we're going to see if we can then, yeah, continue detailing out our platform here. So until then, and until... Actually, how is this all looking? I might as well put it all together in the end. Why not? It's no harm is done by putting this thing together in the end. So you go there. You go there. You go up. I still haven't smoothed out underneath, so it still doesn't fit down here nicely. It kind of sits on top. But that out of the way. Kind of don't know why I have either of these things up here. Let's move that down just so we have a little bit of a contrast. And of course we get our globe. So from this vantage, it may not look like much has changed, but good stuff has happened. Whoop. Good stuff has happened on this. Like I said, I really do like this effect that's coming out. But yeah, come next time we're gonna continue with this platform, continue detailing out, get all this stuff done. We'll have the surface done, and then after that, who knows? Figure something else out at that point. But until then, and until next time, enjoy.